ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team ban.
What's up, guys, and welcome back to the 7th joinDOTA League season. We have a best of 2. BangBang going up against Boreal eSports. This is, of course, being helped out a little bit by Dota 2 Lounge, so be sure to check them out, place some bets. This is going to be only the first series of the day, so if it may be too late to place bets on this one, there's always the next Swag vs. V-Legion is going to be coming up right after this. I'm Mike Loris, I'm one of your casters for today. Grandis should also be on the line. You ready to do this, man? Back to the Americas?
Absolutely, but that said, I really don't know that much about BangBang. They were around last season, but they didn't play that many games, and Boreal have been very inconsistent with how many games they played over the last few months. So the last performance we saw from Boreal against BangBang was in JDL 6, and it was a 2-0 for Boreal. But that said, there's been a lot of roster shuffles between these two teams, and I don't think that really holds anymore. I'd expect this to be a little bit closer, but we'll get into this draft. We're going to ban out Leshrac, Shadow Fiend, Earthshaker, and Tusk. First pick, Queen of Pain, followed by Winter Wyvern Clock from Boreal.
If I recall correctly, Boreal did play a game in GDL kind of recently that you actually casted, and I think Kikoni is Didoni.
Yes, that would be my guess. And since they didn't say there were any stand-ins, I assume that KVH is Tumblr Grill?
Reserve time.
Sure. We'll go with that, I guess. I mean, that's probably the safest way to go. But yeah, Boreal, for the most part, have their full draft here. And in their previous set, they got a little bit careless. I think that's something that we did see from them. They got off to a pretty good start, and then they just kind of tanked. So hopefully for them, they'll be able to keep it up and actually stay a little bit safer. And with a hero like Winter Wyvern opening with Clockwork as well, this is a pretty safe way to open, which can't really be said about the BangBang draft. Nyx Assassin, second pick.
Yeah, this is going to be very risky coming out from BangBang. Already they're reliant on snowballing, getting ahead, and not losing the Queen of Pain and Nyx too much. In the laning stage, Nyx Assassin is a fairly weak offlaner, I'd say. He has the stun to get him out of trouble, and Spike Carapace is okay, but nothing as reliable as like Clockwork Cogs or Phoenix's Icarus Dive. And if he falls behind, there's really no backup plan for Nyx Assassin. He can't instant give support, so he at best becomes a utility hero inside the team fights, and that's not what you want to be doing with the Nyx.
Yeah, I'm in general not really a huge fan of this hero, and I think picking up this hero second pick when you could be picking up, well, any of these heroes that are being banned out, like a Witch Doctor or a Rubik or like any of those heroes, I think it's probably just better to go about it that way. I can't really think of many strategies that really revolve around the Nyx Assassin. I feel like if you want to be doing the whole stealth kind of rotation-heavy gameplay plan, then pick up a Bounty Hunter. That seems like it has a lot more upside, a lot less risk. Too late now because it's banned out, but hey, Nyx Assassin, Queen of Pain, it's a very old way of opening. I think there was once a patch back in the day where no one would bat an eye, but nowadays you could probably get Nyx Assassin 5th pick if you really wanted him.
Yeah, I think so too, but this does put a lot of faith in whoever the Nyx Assassin player is going to be this game, and at the very least, it shows confidence coming out from BangBang, and I can respect that, but yeah, I'm pretty much on the same page. I would have liked to see a Bounty Hunter instead of the Nyx in the second stage, but that said, we're going to move into the next stage of these picks, and even though Nyx Assassin and Queen of Pain is down on the ground already, we don't know exactly how BangBang are going to lane. Nyx Assassin and Queen of Pain are fairly flexible in that regard, and similar for Boreal, nothing's really known about how these lanes are going to go down, but now that the Sand King is there, maybe we're going to see something.
Seeing heroes that are not often highly prioritized being picked up kind of early outside the Clockwork, Winter Wyvern, Queen of Pain, that's perfectly normal. Sand King, Nyx Assassin, both of the line stunner heroes, coincidence? Maybe, but Sand King with the Boreal side, not a huge amount of synergy with the Winter Wyvern as far as handling a lane is concerned, but it seems like with this pick, Boreal are interested in having a pretty slow game. Sand King, you know, going into the jungle, stacking up for himself, or potentially even for his mid laner, you know, then just having the Winter Wyvern being that babysitting hero. And for BangBang, they really, as you said before, can shift gears and just put up the heat real high with the Nyx Assassin. It's not really the most explosive hero, but it can do a lot of damage in the mid game if you get off to any sort of decent start.
Yeah, fair enough. Shadow Demon for BangBang is going to be pretty nice defensively against the Clockwork, but other than that, I think the biggest reason they'll pick up the Shadow Demon here is to set up for Nyx Assassin's Impale Stuns. In general, I think Shadow Demon is a pretty underutilized hero, another one of those heroes that you could probably leave till later on in the draft, but it's nice to not show your hand yet.
Wait, do you know the interaction between Shadow Demon and Winter's Curse? If you bubble your ally, and like,
everybody
you have
else
allies
kind
that
of
are
stands
like
there
forced to
and looks
attack,
at
you
the
just stand
bubble.
there.
Yeah.
That's a little bit awkward. I mean, it's still a good answer. It's a point-click stun that you could say no to. Shadow Demon defensively looks actually pretty good here. When Boreal go on their targets, it's very, very clear that they're going on with Clockwork Hookshot, eventually Blink Burrow Strike, or Winter's Curse. Saving someone like a Queen of Pain who ordinarily wouldn't be able to withstand all that is big game. So, you know, even though we see this Shadow Demon pick not super often, I think it's actually a really reasonable pick here for BangBang. As you said, also offers them that offensive power at the Nyx.
Just confirmation, Tumblr Girl is not KVH, so
okay.
I have no idea who that actually is.
Chat says it's Trouf, but
it might be. Looking at his Dota buff profile, he has played as stand-in for a lot of NA teams, but I have no actual confirmation of his real name since his profile is private. So
when has chat ever lied to us?
Who knows? We'll just call him Tumblr Girl. I think that's safest.
Yeah. And we'll say he's triggered, and you know, we'll do that whole thing because we can. Boreal, their slow gameplays looks like it's going to culminate into a Phantom Lancer. Ooh, BangBang! You know what? I'm already a fan of this team. They got style. Not often do we see a Kunkka ever, and Kunkka in this scenario is probably the best way to play a Kunkka. You know, I would say it's even better than Kunkka and a Bane. You just bubble someone, you torrent them, then if you have a Nyx Assassin there, if you have Queen of Pain there, it's going to be a kill 9 times out of 10. So I really like this opening from BangBang. It's not really the most meta opening, but it's hell of a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, even though it's not consistent with the current playstyle of the patch, I'd say, it's very consistent with the playstyle of each of these individual heroes. Shadow Demon really likes being able to set up and get kills in all 3 of the lanes, and right now it looks like he's going to be able to do just that, whether it be with the Nyx Assassin comboed up, or even the Queen of Pain to a lesser extent. She's not going to be able to drop a stun on top of it, but that damage amp plus Queen of Pain's kit is absolutely terrifying to go into, so yeah, I really do like their lineup as a whole. That said, I think Boreal have more stable heroes. Phantom Lancer is always going to be able to contribute, even though there is a lot of AoE between the Kunkka and the Queen of Pain to deal with his illusions. If he gets stacked, it's going to be very difficult for BangBang to deal with it, unless they get lucky with the disruption and get an army of Phantom Lancers themselves.
It is possible that BangBang shift this Kunkka over to a non-support role still. I mean, we do see Nyx Assassin supports. Well, I mean, we see Nyx Assassin very rarely, but Nyx Assassin played as a support. You could definitely do a lot worse. Putting Kunkka in, say, the mid lane over the Queen of Pain, it's something that they can do right now. It is obviously going to be dependent on what Boreal select for their mid lane selection, which is currently yet to be seen, but having that flexibility, having a farmed Kunkka versus Phantom Lancer, it's again not really the best way to deal with the hero, just because one giant cleave hit usually isn't going to be enough to kill off the entirety of Phantom Lancer's army, and then he could just make another one. But with that amount of extra experience and goal in the hero, it does become a much better, relevant mid-game answer to this Phantom Lancer. So BangBang do have that flexibility in their mid lane, depending on what Boreal select.
As far as last bans are concerned, Clinks will be taken out by Boreal and Zeus banned out by BangBang. Pretty interesting bans, both with a lot of damage, but on different sides of the coin. Interesting to see the Clinks banned out. I'm not sure if that's the scariest hero that's there, but if he's given enough space, could also benefit very heavily from the Shadow Demon's amp and just a raw amount of punching power coming out from BangBang, if they do decide to go for something along a similar vein.
Got a Wind Ranger here for Boreal. Kikoni, or Didoni, however you want to say it, was pretty beastly on that hero and is most likely going to go towards the mid lane. It's not the worst lane for Kunkka, but at this point it's a toss-up of what they actually want to do with this Kunkka and the Queen of Pain. Obviously the safer thing to do is put the Queen of Pain there, and usually you're just going to be okay, but I think the lane is actually maybe good enough to seriously consider a Kunkka mid.
10 seconds.
Yeah,
remaining.
I think that could be reasonable, especially if you get rotations in from the Shadow Demon. If they do go for that Kunkka mid, the Shadow Demon is going to be very fluid throughout all of these lanes. Can't really stay static.
Reserve time.
You know, the Shadow Demon Kunkka is the combo, but they don't always have to be playing in those lanes. As you said, being super mobile with the Shadow Demon, always walking around, maybe even grabbing boots first, get you a couple of kills early on. But for Boreal, ooh, Luna, okay. Looks like our try to play the game that sports kind of similar to the Klink's pick in that it is a hero that can very quickly pressure and towers.
Combos really well with the strategy when you're trying to break high ground if you get that maxed out disruption. I think in general there's so much synergy with BangBang's lineup, even though it's not conventional. I like it quite a bit. Have a lot of room to show off their individual play coming out from these heroes, and if they're able to do just that, I think Boreal have a better chance. And I think, all things considered, Boreal a little bit more stable when it comes to their picks. And to quickly introduce them, Jeppin's going to be playing on the Clockwork, TPing down bottom to place out his ward as fast as possible. Pizza Dad on the Sand King, Kikoni or Didoni on the Wind Ranger, Winter Wyvern by PQ, and maybe Tralf, but it's Tumblr Girl on the Phantom Lancer.
We have so many people saying he's Tralf, but yeah, again, it's just going to be Tumblr Girl because that's what he wants to be called. On the BangBang side, we have Gadget Guru on the Queen of Pain. Too much BangBang is going to be on the Kunko with Kamikaze, kind of, on the Luna. Up towards top, it's going to be Auto Attacks, Chemistry on the Assassin, and leading the rear, it's going to be, yes, the real Blaze casting on the Shadow Demon. Looks like he's going to be playing support and what looks like to be good old-fashioned defensive tri-lane.
Yep, contention for these bounty runes looks like it's going to be pretty hot down the bottom area, but on top, I don't think Nick Sesson's really going to wholeheartedly go down here. Phantom Lancer should be able to get that pretty much uncontested. I'd expect Queen of Pain to at the very least secure it, and probably safely too. These heroes at level 1 aren't the greatest at killing off a Quap.
You know, I think actually BangBang might be able to do a little bit more with these three heroes in the safe lane. They work together very well, as we mentioned, like all being set up by its disruption into Torrent, and then with Luna's extra damage, getting the kill from after that, it's pretty easy. I think it is probably powerful enough to contest this Phantom Lancer up on top. I mean, they're obviously not going to do that, but I feel like that's something that they probably could have gotten away with.
They do have a smoke on the Kunkka. Shadow Demon, although he doesn't have boots, can still set up pretty reliably whenever you do go for the smoke rotation, so I would like to see them get active as fast as possible. That said, Clockwork in the dire side is going to have a really easy time of blocking out these creeps. He's going to let the range creep go out in front, cogs all of the melee creeps in, although they are being stubborn and don't want to go into the pocket into the trees, his lane's still going to push back into him.
It's just 3 heroes versus 2, and we already see the pull camp being blocked, or the Radiant pull camp being blocked, and quick sentry check. There is a sentry on this Kunkka, but as we all know, dewarding this camp is absolute hell, and nobody really wants to be tasked with doing that. Over towards the top lane, it looks like it's just going to be an Assassin by himself, going up against 1, sometimes 2 heroes. It actually seems like a reasonable lane for this Nyx Assassin. He's not going to be under a ton of pressure as Sand King, though he is threatening with the Burrow Strike. If you have your Spike Carapace at the ready, you should be able to escape the combo of Sand King Lancer most of the time.
Yeah, the benefit of not having the Winter Wyvern in the lane is that you can stack up over in the camps and also put a little bit of pressure on mid. I believe that's where the first Arctic Burn went, but now the Winter Wyvern's here, Nyx Assassin's life gets a little bit more difficult.
Occasionally that Arctic Burn is going to be hitting pretty darn hard. It is looking like Boreal want to go for some sort of aggressive play onto this Nyx Assassin. It is very difficult, even with boots first on the Sand King. I mean, that's the most aggressive way you can open with the hero. They're going to need to open up with the Lance first and Arctic Burn as well. So, yeah, chemistry should be fine for the most part up on this top lane. He's going to get poked and prodded, but he's taking a lot of damage, not doing as great as Jeppin's down towards bottom lane. Even after kind of botching that cog block, is already level 2 and is pushing level 3 really quickly.
The supports from BangBang will be successful in dewarding out the ward placed out by the Clockwork. It costs them 2 sentries, but they'll succeed eventually. So now without that vision, Clockwork's time gets a little bit more difficult. He will at the very least secure himself level 3 if he gets this bounty rune.
It looks like that will be grabbed pretty darn easily. Over towards mid lane, lane that you expect to be probably the most even. It's going to be Gadget Guru going toe-to-toe versus Kikoni. They're drawing even on CS right now, but we do have a wraparound actually up towards top lane. Spike Carapace will already use. Nyx Assassin might just be dead right now. Burrow Strike lands. They don't have an Arctic Burn for another 1 second, but a Lance will fly, and now the burn is up. Who's going to get this kill? It'll be PQ. The Winter Wyvern draws it. Oh, double damage being mixed in there as well. Didn't even see that. It's all blue, but yeah, it's a very dead Nyx Assassin up on top lane. Got a little bit too comfortable.
Yeah, he's going to get less out of his lane than Clockwork, and that's kind of to be expected. Clockwork's one of the best heroes at getting as much experience as you possibly can, even in a very hostile lane, which it is, to be fair. It's still not the end of the world for Nyx Assassin. It's kind of expected that you're going to die early on, but you'd like to prevent that as much as possible.
This is really why we don't see Nyx Assassin too much. As far as getting the early game start with Nyx Assassin, there aren't many situations where you'll be truly comfortable with that hero, and we could see why already up on top. He was forced to use Spike Carapace a little bit early, didn't see what he actually used it for, but the cooldown is super high, and he needs that to survive if ever he's going to get poked or prodded at all, because, you know, as we said before, Winter Wyvern Sand King is not really the most devastating as far as kill combos are concerned, but Nyx Assassin just isn't really that hard to kill, so they don't really need, you know, the S+ tier killers in the lane. Over towards mid, keep on getting with these fist fights. And sooner or later, I think someone's going to die. It's just a matter of time before Kekoni lands a good power shot, and I think that will probably change the lane. But for right now, Kekoni's, for the most part, missing.
Yeah, it is a slight advantage for the Wind Ranger, excuse me, inside this mid lane, but Queen of Pain's not completely shut down herself. Once level 6 comes out for the Queen of Pain, it's also possible that Windrunner gets a little bit too confident inside this lane, just gets burst down. So, although it's not going to be aggressive yet, an awkward shackle or an off power shot could end up catching Queen of Pain off guard. Oops, smoke up coming out from Shadow Demon and Kunkka. This might be a kill opportunity for them. It looks like they want to catch out Windrunner.
Know exactly where she is. They know that she doesn't have a rune that will really help her too much. Queen of Pain, does she have Sonic Wave? No, not quite yet, but now Tony's in an awkward position, gets put into a bubble. I think the Scream hit, although now going to get torrented. No, it's going to completely miss. Okay, well, I think that should have been a kill if everything was to connect. I'm not sure if that Scream landed, but either way, Kekoni gets to walk away.
Yeah, even if they aren't confident with going for the torrent there after the disruption, maybe you just get in range for the X marks the spot and set it up yourself. But unfortunate for them, they're not able to get that kill, as Windrunner is doing absolutely fine in this mid lane. It would help the Queen of Pain so much, just with one kill assist against her opponent.
And Sand King is actually in the midst of all this, drawn level 4, and he's very close to level 5 as well. They don't really need the Sand King to, you know, go for this Nyx Assassin fully. They'll just put him in the jungle and let him do Sand King farming things. Unfortunately, he misses the stack, which is kind of unfortunate, but it doesn't seem like BangBang actually have enough heroes, the right heroes, to actually pressure all the lanes and deal with the Sand King. They're going to try to go for bottom lane. Disruption is there. Here comes the torrent. That will land for sure, and they also have X marks if needed. It's not needed. With the Luna's damage, they'll take the kill on the clock.
You know, both of these off laners have enough a kill apiece, and both of the safe laners are farming at pretty much the same rate. So across the board, this is a very even start to the game, but a slight advantage for Boreal since they're able to abuse the jungle a little bit more since Pizza Dad is sitting there.
Halfway to his Blink Dagger right now, and really for BangBang, they're using both their supports to accomplish pretty much what Boreal are doing with just one. Winter Wyvern with level 2 Arctic Burn, in fact, is going to be putting a lot of harassment back into auto attacks, Observer Ward as well, and Nyx Assassin is being zoned out by one hero, whereas Jeppins is, well, dying occasionally, but for the most part managing up against two. These two supports for BangBang really need to step up their roaming, I think. They have boots now on the Shadow Demon and boots on the Kunkka, so they should just be looking for these rotations, but going towards mid, a little bit difficult since there's still a dire Observer Ward placed down quite a long time ago.
Yeah, and there's no clear opportunity. There is always the threat of having a TP in from the likes of Sand King Winter Wyvern, even though they don't have those now. Response could definitely flip things, especially since Jeppins is getting close to level 6 on the Clockwork, which in general I'd say is a little bit scarier than Nyx Assassin with just Vendetta.
And Nyx Assassin, even though he may have a Vendetta, is going to be super strapped for mana. We can already see it right now. He's not up against any sort of mana burners in his lane, but already, like, just by using Spike Carapace occasionally, throwing a couple Impales, is tapped completely dry. And now he's going to run into a Burrow Strike. There's Winter Burn already activating on Nyx, and he has one Carapace. He'll have to block the lance, but even with that, I don't know if it's going to be enough just with the right clicks. He is going to get away. No, the Illusion actually gets the last hit. Didn't really see that one coming, but over towards the mid lane, looks like someone's going to get put into a bubble. Torrent is incoming. Kekoni is going to dodge it yet again, but there's a haster in the Queen of Pain. You can't run forever. Should try to TP out, but a Sonic Wave will cut through. That was completely unnecessary, I think. You probably would have just gotten a kill anyway, but across the map, it is a 1-for-1 exchange.
And a better one for the BangBang side, since supports were all tied up. That's a pretty straightforward gank for them. They had the haster on the Queen of Pain bottled and ready to go for that. And even if they don't commit the Sonic Wave, she was X-marked and decides to cancel the TP herself since it wouldn't have done anything at all. It is pretty hard to lock her down inside the Disruption Torrent combination unless it's absolutely perfect, since she is a very fast hero, but at least this time they get that kill, and that's going to help out quite a lot. What once was an even lane is now slightly Queen of Pain favored. She has a level on the Windrunner.
Yeah, but that may be nice and everything, but top lane, this Nyx Assassin is still struggling really hard, and Sand King's Blink Dagger is not too far away. Level 6 with the level 3 Sandstorm, and of course level 3 Burrow Strike. Epicenter, you want to have that by the time you get your Blink Dagger, and he should have that by the time he gets his Blink. Pizza Dad is going to look to enter this game. and even though I say that, he's already gotten 2 assists for the team, and that's, well, I guess 100% kill participation. We have Blaze in an awkward position right now. He's going to run into a dragon. That's never really what you want to see as any hero in any game, and now Blaze is going to be forced to TP out, puts the clock in the bubble. It's hookshot, not in range, actually. Got blocked by the illusions. I think you could probably just go for that as Jeppins, but very well played by Blaze. Nice, calm, and collected.
Yeah, that rotation will secure them, the Roshan Hill ward, which is going to make Clockwork's life a little bit harder, but Jeppins doesn't really need to have any presence down this bottom lane anymore. The Luna is statically farming, but Clockwork has his level 6, and they can very easily just partner up. Once the Sand King gets his blink, which is in just a couple gold, as soon as he finishes the Centaur last hit, he'll have it, and level 7 to boot. They can just constantly gank. It's a very scary duo for getting kills.
So we'll see how many kills Boreal are actually able to grab. The important thing for this the upcoming moments of this game is not necessarily to get kills with the intention of winning the game. It's to get kills with the intention of getting Tumblr Girl and getting Kokoni a lot of extra space, and occasionally a couple kills if you find yourself with the opportunity to do so. Pizza Dad has pretty much everything that you could possibly want, with the exception being level 4 Burrow Strike. Ideally you would like that by the time you grab your Blink Dagger and want to roam around, but hey, I think you could probably manage with level 3. They have level 6 on the Wyvern? No, he's only level 4, so this Wyvern, not going to be hitting super hard.
Even without it, can still contribute, but I don't think they need the Wyvern to really be involved to convincingly get kills anywhere on the map. AutoTax does have Vendetta up, and although that's scary, they don't have anybody as good to combo with the Nyx Assassin. Queen of Pain is okay, but not ideal. Kunkka looking to the wraparound. They might be able to find Jeppins. They have 2 points up in this X mark. They're going to pop at Jeppins in a lot of trouble here, but he can't quite get the Torrent top. Now the turnaround. Pizza Dad looks for the blink in with the epicenter, but can't catch anything. He'll get the Burrow Strike eventually onto too much BangBang as Eclipse goes out into the sidelines, but Luna is completely split apart, excuse me. That's going to be a double kill for Kokoni. That's a huge turn of events for Boreal.
It looked like a good thing to go for if you are the BangBang side, but diving a Clockwork with Cogs always has its inherent risk, and this time the risk didn't come from the Clockwork necessarily. It was from the reinforcements. I definitely don't think BangBang expected that many heroes to come in, even with, for the most part, a botched epicenter, which Pizza Dad probably shouldn't have missed. He got like a Burrow Strike and 1 pulse, I think, on the enemy Kunkka. Even with that, they end up cleaning house because BangBang don't have as many relevant heroes in the area, so it is a successful defense and turnaround there for Boreal. Hookshot was used, and it looks like BangBang want to try to continue, perhaps. They have Queen of Pain and Luna down on this bottom lane, but with no Eclipse, it's really difficult to go for this push. Maybe if they had a boat, they could do it, but Kunkka's not quite there yet.
Yeah, and Clockwork has maxed out Flare. It's going to be really difficult for them to push, but Nyx Assassin bumps into Kokoni, gets that impale even through the haste stream, but he doesn't quite have the damage. He needs a little bit more mana burn. Gonna throw it, and that'll be lethal. AutoTex desperately needed that, and it's a very high priority kill for him.
It's a huge kill for BangBang in general. Not only Wind Ranger dying, that in of itself is really good, but Nyx Assassin, who is having a pretty slow start, is still not doing that hot, but actually now does have the mana sustain to be useful for his team. He could actually cast his spells when he needs to cast his spells. Go figure, right? That turns out that's pretty good. So Nyx Assassin, he used his Vendetta once, and we'll see if he's able to really match the rotations that I expect to be coming out from Pizza Dad, who actually has grabbed his Blink Dagger and then goes straight back to the jungle. I mean, I think it's fine if you're going for level 4 Burrow Strike, because he was just 1 level off of that, but actually going for the Sandstorm looks like he wants to play this game super slowly.
Maybe just wait out for the epicenter to be off of cooldown again. He's going to get level 9 sooner rather than later, but yeah, I would have liked a more aggressive build, if I'm completely honest. The Clockwork hookshot is back up and running, and they could get kills, but I think the status quo is still looking fine for Boreal, since their Phantom Lancer is getting a lot of farm. Drums Aquila Bottle already online, and he's keeping up a nice pace, comparable to that of Luna.
Now the tower is down. Most likely the Phantom Lancer is going to feel comfortable enough to stay in this lane more or less. And down towards bottom lane, actually, BangBang going to save himself for a little bit of time with the Torrent. Now here comes the boat and the 2-man impale. Evans is going to dodge the boat damage right now, but here comes the Queen of Pain. There goes the Clockwork, and PQ is not looking too hot either. Sonic Wave should get this kill, and it will. Nyx Assassin actually stealing that with the mana burn, but either way, it's 2 kills, and the Kunkka gets to walk away over towards the top lane. Looks like nothing's going to be happening down up there, rather, but now that they've gotten a couple kills on this bottom lane, the Luna, unfortunately, isn't on this bottom lane to push yet. I think despite that, they should have enough power to go for this tower. They see Pizza Dad with both an Observer Ward and Poison, but yeah, it looks like there's not much the Sand King can do by himself, even with a perfect epicenter.
Yeah, the defensive power of the supporting duo coming out from BangBang is pretty darn impressive between the disruption and the Kunkka run buff. But Burrow Strike catches up Blaze just on the edge of it, and they'll have more than enough damage, although Hookshot's going to completely miss since he is disrupted already. Blaze should be going down, and there you go. Phantom Lancer will secure the kill, although it is a big rotation coming out from Boreal.
Yeah, they force two TPs. Force use two TPs. They also bring PQ down the old-fashioned way. So it's okay that they saved the tower. It's okay that they get the Shadow Demon kill, but it was certainly a super expensive one at that. Now that the Phantom Lancer's down this bottom lane, are they really going to try to push this back in? There's pretty much always going to be a boat up on the other end. They also have an invisible Nyx Assassin. There's no detection right now. He's going to open up with the Vendetta, looking for the spike, will completely miss it. Impale, it's not going to do much, but now Jeffens gets hit with the boat. He's going to put up the cogs, but is that actually going to do anything? He's super tanky at this stage. In the meantime, Blaze, he's going to get lashed to a tree. Power shot right to the dome. Kikoni will have enough to get that kill. Wind Run active now, and he'll try to fall back. Actually, no, turnaround. Trying to go for auto attacks, but now here comes the Epicenter. It's going to connect squarely onto the Queen of Pain and Boreal. They haven't lost anyone just yet. Power shot through. Not going to connect to the Nyx Assassin, but a blink forward from Koni. Out of mana completely. The Eclipse is active. That will kill off the Wind Ranger. Burrow Strike not going to do any damage actually to auto attacks, but he's now stuck in a corner. I don't see him getting out of this just because he has nowhere to run. He'll try to take down Pizza Dad, but that's not going to happen with the Lance from Tumblr. They're going to get a killing spree on this Lancer, looking perhaps for a little bit more. No, he's actually going to use the Doppelgang to retreat, or think about it rather. And it looks like it'll just be Kikoni to fall in exchange for 2. Boreal with the Ring of Aquila should be able to take this tower.
Yeah, they still have a hookshot available that wasn't used in that last fight, although Jeffens didn't have the other spells to back that up to go for any further kills. It's still a nice trade for Boreal. Windrunner does get caught out inside an Eclipse by yourself. That's not a situation you ever want to be in, but Boreal just have way too much initiation at this point. BangBang, all they have really is the Nyx Assassin jump and the Kunkka's kit. The Nyx Assassin initiation completely missed, and although the Kunkka's combination was nice, Clockwork is sitting on a cloak for himself, and in general is pretty tanky. Jeffens was under no real duress.
And also in that last fight, we saw the weakness of Nyx Assassin, probably one of the most substantial weaknesses of the hero. This Impale is so hard to land. It shouldn't be this hard to land, honestly, for just like a simple line stun. But he got in there with the Vendetta hit onto the Winter Wyvern, pretty much the hero that you want to be bursting down so that she can't save any of her allies, but absolutely no follow-up. You have to be able to actually kill off your heroes because, I mean, your name is Nyx Assassin. He's going to run to kick Koni. Blink out, though. Koni, I think, saw the Kunkka coming in, so she's going to keep herself pretty safe as Wind Ranger, but if Nyx Assassin can't, actually Vendetta hit into Impale, what is this hero actually going to be doing? Not that much.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate for their team as a whole. It gets better once Nyx Assassin gets that first item, but Burrow Strike behind the tower. They're going to catch out onto Shin. Blink away by the Queen of Pain. She'll be just fine. The follow-up wasn't quite sufficient, but now Disruption over under the Clockwork on the sidelines. They have the torrent to follow, and Jeffens is flying up in the air. They should have the burst damage for this, but Jeffens, with that cloak, is pretty darn tanky. He's on the backlines. They're going to get the Winter's Curse onto Blaze. Blaze taking quite a lot of damage. They'll try to focus down this Nyx Assassin. Nobody's died as of yet. Phantom Lancer goes into the backlines, but can't find anybody to stick on. Luna's there. She does not have the Eclipse, however, and can't find a Lucid Beam onto Pizza Dad. And after all is said and done, everybody walks away freely.
It's so weird to see fights like that where actually no one dies, but having a Clockwork, again, as you said, pretty tanky as a hero. Cloak is there as well. He got hit with the combo, and actually, no, they're not done yet. Kikoni, he wants in, but the power shot's going to get blocked by the bubble. Now Gadget turning around for a 2-man Sonic Wave. That'll kill off Kikoni and Jeffens, not looking too healthy either with a long-range beam. They'll get that kill as well. This is something that we've seen from Kikoni in the past. He is really good with the Wind Ranger, but sometimes he thinks he's just a little bit too good and ends up in situations that's, just borderline suicide. Ends up giving his own life away and also ropes in the Clockwork into it as well. It's that shouldn't have happened, right? If you're playing really safe, you're playing cautiously, you don't make that play.
Yeah, it was very aggressive, and they didn't have the vision to back it up at the moment. They do have a ward down in bottom lane, but that's about to expire. Other than that, they have no vision on this map, but they find the Luna with the Burrow Strike. The follow-up damage should be there with Phantom Lancer coming in, and that will be a dead Luna. Eclipse, no mana to use it, and really wouldn't have been worth it. Nyx Assassin is Vendetta over in the sidelines. Maybe they can catch somebody out in their retreat, and that somebody could be the Winter Wyvern, but she's also pretty darn elusive and blink away by the Sand King. They spotted up the Nyx Assassin with Sentry Ward in mid, turn around for the Burrow Strike. No, get the X marks onto the Nyx Assassin himself. That's not really going to do much of anything. Disruption long range under the Windrunner, trying to focus her down. Purged up. There is going to be the turn to follow, but hookshot in. They're going to catch out auto attacks. Boat flying through is going to apply the boat buff. They're going to lose the Windrunner. Pizza Dad trying to run away. The right click damage from Shin is pretty good, but not quite good enough. They're going to X mark, pull him back with the Scream. Sentry Ward down on the ground. Pizza Dad is going to die. Tor catches out out too. The follow-up damage should be there sooner rather than later. Scream just comes off of cooldown from the Queen of Pain, but too much BangBang has taken quite a lot of hurt. There's going to be Winter's Curse on the Blaze Casting, trying to disengage. Jeffins was inside the Winter's Curse. They'll lose the Queen of Pain, and now Blaze Casting is completely isolated away from the rest of his team. Kunkka is going to be chased down by the Phantom Lance. Now Tumblr Girl comes in from the south, has the Lance cooling down soon, doesn't even need it, will smack down Blaze Casting as Winter Wyvern secures the kill.
That fight was an absolute mess, man. Like, it doesn't get any more messy than that. Unfortunately for the BangBang side, Kamikaze didn't have an Eclipse there, and in that position when, you know, everyone's fighting nowhere near a lane, nowhere near any sort of creep support, that's when Eclipse becomes one of the most deadly skills, not only in this game, but also in Dota in general, and it just wasn't there in time. So, yeah, even with losing Kikoni super early on, Boreal still managed to put up a much better fight than I thought. I think just because BangBang chase way too far. Like, I think once they get to the secondary dire steps of the river, that's when they should have turned back, but they smelled a little bit too much blood, and now Kikoni's gonna get hit with the Impale, Mana Burn, plus Queen of Pain's arrival. Sonic Wave will get the kill super easily. Tumblr Girl's in the area, invisible, like Phantom Lancers of old, but he can't do anything here.
And in fact, he might get spotted out. He walks right by a Sentry Ward, and they could turn around on a Tumblr Girl, even without the Sonic Wave. Let's see if they smell something's up. They have another Sentry on Blaze Casting, decides to use it. They're going to catch the disruption onto the Phantom Lancer, and from here on out, it's pretty much all but over. Impale nicely lined up in there, going to be able to drop him low, and he should end up falling to the purge damage, if nothing else. Nyx Assassin will secure the mega kill spree.
That's a really nice kill for the BangBang side. Nyx Assassin, again, getting his hands a little bit bloody. He's going to give him his Blink Dagger, going to give Luna the safety and confidence to clear out this huge Ancient stack without anyone really interrupting. In fact, well, they're all there, so they have the security, and also killing off Phantom Lancer. That's his first death of the game. He is extremely farmed, and therefore worth a lot. Kikoni's actually going to blink straight in to an X-Marks. Foolish play from this Wind Ranger. Going to get Torrented and Boat right to the face with a Mana Burn as well. That had to be a misclick, right? Like, what was that?
I don't know. There's going to be a D-ward attempted in mid, or, well, the ward placed right on the D-ward, excuse me. But yeah, Windrunner just seems to find herself caught out alone, and it shows in her KDA. She's 3-7-2, and the Windrunner just isn't working out for them. Boreal are playing a tad too aggressive, at least on that hero. Disruption is going to catch the Luna so that they can apply a little bit more damage to this tier 1, although not outright take it. It's still a little bit of extra chip for BangBang. They've gotten so much in the last couple minutes of this game, and Luna's now sitting comfortably at the top net worth slot, has a full SNY, has the Helm of Dominator Aquila, and now an Ogre Club flying out to herself. She's pretty darn tanky as far as Lunas are concerned.
This is also why people call Luna the poor man's gyrocopter. The exact same gyrocopter build, and it's just not on a gyrocopter. It seems to be doing okay in this game, but usually with Luna, I would expect over a gyrocopter to be taking a couple more towers. It's kind of surprising to me that Boreal still have control of all their tier 1s. BangBang not really making a huge attempt at going for that, but they will potentially run to this Wyvern. Oh yeah, they have Nyx Assassin in a good spot right now. Kikoni is right behind the Wyvern. BangBang takes a power shot, but Kikoni's gonna blink forward, looking for the Shackle. Will land it, but now here comes the Eclipse. It's a really dead Wind Ranger. They also see PQ, gonna launch the Curse onto auto attacks to do a little bit of damage. Now here comes the Epicenter onto 2. Burst Strike as well. Kunkka gets the boat out for the run buff onto 2, but will that even matter? Pizza Dad and PQ, they're all alone right now. Sonic is going to connect onto 0 heroes, actually. They're going to grab the regen rune, looking to continue this fight as PQ is going to run away from Blaze. Kamikaze does put down the Sand King, but here comes Jeppins. Hookshot straight into the Shadow Demon. Battery Assault will get the kill there, but I don't think Battery Assault is going to cut it versus this Luna and Queen of Pain both. They'll retreat with the Force Staff, and they should be just fine in a 3-for-2 trade favoring Boreal.
These fights are so messy, and although that favors Boreal in numbers, it's another death on the Windrunner, and she's just not transitioning hard enough. Phantom Lancer wasn't involved in any way, shape, or form inside that engagement. He was pushing out top, and although that's fine and good for the Phantom Lancer, the gold that Boreal get from that fight isn't really on heroes that are going to use it amazingly. It's not going to be terrible by any means, it's still okay, but the Queen of Pain and Luna both survived throughout all of that.
Queen of Pain forced to use Sonic Wave there up on top lane. She does have her Aghanim Scepter, so it's not really a terribly huge deal, but still the Phantom Lancer is playing his Cancer role. Nyx Assassin looking to put an end to that. He's gonna have to Vendetta hit and Impale, and I think at that point Phantom Lancer should be able to dodge out the rest of that damage, but it looks like it's nothing really gonna happen up on that top lane. 15-15 right now, and this game is probably as even as you're gonna find for a 22-minute game. Pretty much no net worth lead going either way. Minor experience, if that's even still accurate, going the way of BangBang, but they do have auto attacks. Gonna run straight into Jeppins. That's not a kill that he really wants to mess with right now. He's gonna hide in the trees and wait for his allies to circle around. The rest of them are smoked up. They do know that at least Clockwork is here. They will know that at least Phantom Lancer was there, but I don't think they're gonna be getting this kill.
Yeah, it looks like Clockwork should be fine up in the top lane. They might just transition this into a straight tower push, but it's kind of weird to be doing that without the Luna, so maybe it's only going to be half-hearted, hoping to find another hero that's stuck around. They're going to place the ward, and that's not going to spot anything out. They should know that Clockwork's in the area. He's throwing some flares at the creep wave every once in a while, but things have slowed down for a bit. Looks like Boreal will get some breathing room, as do BangBang for this Luna, but that might end. Sand King is going very aggressively into the woods, but not with sufficient backup.
While this is happening, not a lot going on in the Boreal camp. They were just awkwardly shuffling around the Roshan pit. They definitely don't have enough power to go for that just yet. And, well, they didn't actually get a ton of farm either. Top lane push is finally going to commence for real now, as auto attacks looking for Jeppins, playing super deep into the trees, now finds himself in a really awkward position. There is pretty much perfect observer coverage here for the BangBang side, so they see someone coming in, they see Jeppins, they see PQ, but Blaze casting, he's gonna get hit with the hook shot first. He's not gonna get the bubble out, now taking a lot of damage. Boat is not gonna connect onto much, and actually catch BangBang off in the south. Tumblr goes right on top of this Kunkka, completely out of mana with the run buff, surviving for a really long time, but not long enough. It'll cost them 2 heroes, and it looks like everyone else should be fine. Auto attacks sitting in the invis in the back lines, and no one has detection, or at least not in the right places. So tower is defended, and BangBang just caught with their pants down.
Yeah, that's good for Boreal, don't get me wrong, but it could have been worse. It's only 2 supports that they lose, and maybe this Assassin finds a good angle on mid, and if they do that, that trade up towards top wouldn't look too bad after all, but it seems that that's just going to be all she wrote. Boreal get about 1,000 gold or so for their team across those 2 supports, and they involve pretty much everybody, while BangBang aren't getting too much on their side of the map. Luna continues to farm, has the full BKB, and as soon as Kunkka is up, I'd expect BangBang to look for some sort of aggressive move.
Luna's gonna run maybe into the Wind Ranger? No? Well, okay, Kikoni is maybe looking for Gadget Guru here, but Luna's now gonna farm the camp right under the Wind Rangers. Are you kidding me? Did they seriously not see each other there?
Absolutely not, so ships passing in the night.
That is awesome, dude. Like, when do you ever see that? I don't think... No, Kamikaze definitely didn't know that Wind Ranger was there. I don't know.
Yeah, so everybody just goes back to farming. Peace in the land of Dota 2, although maybe not for long. Tier 1 tower is going to be pressured by the BangBang side since they are sitting on this BKB. Blinken Burrow Strike catches out too much BangBang, but the follow-up isn't there for this Kunkka. He does have a boat to throw out, and I don't think he's going to get too much of a span to burn, but there's a Winter's Curse on the Blaze casting, bursting down the Shadow Demon. It's going to be a 4v5 fight, even if they take it now. Shackle over on the sidelines catches out Kamikaze, but the focus damage isn't there from Kikoni. Diffusal Blade, now a Burrow Strike catching out 2 with the hook shot in. They're going to lose their Luna, not even a chance to pop that BKB. And now Nyx Assassin looks for the impale, trying to escape, but only catches a Phantom Lancer illusion. He'll blink out to safety. Queen of Pain will do the same. And just like that, Boreal find another 2-for-0 fight.
Really hard to win these fights for BangBang when you're missing all of your skills. The boat was less than overwhelming, and well, the Queen of Pain Sonic Wave didn't really do anything. So Boreal, they actually landed all their skills. The hook shots, the really nice burrow strikes being set up by Pizza Dad. You know, Epicenter was used there as well, but really I think it was the Winter's Curse that did it. You catch Winter's Curse on 3 heroes like that, it's a 3-person, 3-second stun. That is a ridiculous amount of value for the Winter Wyvern, and it's level 2 at this point. So BangBang just getting caught unawares, and now auto attacks. He's looking for a fight right now. I don't know if he should. Phantom Lancer is still here, and he's still kicking really hard. Boat's gonna fly through, apply some rum to some of the heroes of BangBang, but I don't know if that's gonna be enough. Lance gonna be thrown to Blaze, taking quite a bit of damage on the retreat now. Boreal, they're really too weak to sit here comfortably. Jeppins gonna try to put up a barricade, gets X marked though, has an embrace, has a hook shot, but there are creeps actually blocking his hook shot path. He might walk into this torrent. No, not gonna land. Here comes auto attacks, thinking about it. No, first PQ is gonna get the hell out of there. Jeppins looking for an angle to leave as well. It's time to hook shot out, but he's already X marked. He'll dodge a Sonic Wave, but he's gonna come right back into the Hornet's Nest. Puts up the cogs. There's a wolf blocking his way. Force Staff out. Missile is there as well, but it looks like he should be dropping to someone. Another Force Staff attempted. It's not gonna do it. Clockwork's the victim here. Everyone else will survive.
Yeah, a big fight, but for only a clockwork kill, I think Boreal are not going to be heartbroken. This is time that Phantom Lancer is able to farm and start catching up to Luna. Even though BangBang have lost a couple of consecutive fights, they still have a 10-second BKB on this Luna, and she is stacked. If you compare her net worth to that of the Phantom Lancer, she's about 2k ahead. Tier 1 tower in mid's going to fall down, even though it doesn't happen as fast as Luna might like. It is very easy for them now.
One tower down. It looks like they're looking for something on this bottom half of the map. I don't think they have enough time to go for Roshan right now. As powerful as they are not going to be able to clear it by the time Clockwork comes back up. Maybe their eyes are set on this bottom lane tier 1 right now, but still this game is pretty much dead even. The 10-second BKB charge here on Kamikaze is really going to be that X factor because, well, first of all, Boreal definitely know about it, but just 10 seconds of hitting someone with 200 damage a pop for this Luna is going to hurt like hell. And Phantom Lancer's illusions at this point, I mean, they're decently tanky, but I think even this Luna's glaives, not to mention the Eclipse, will be able to clear them out pretty effectively.
Yeah, I don't think Phantom Lancer is going to get too much value, at least when the BKB is popped. After the fact, maybe they can just focus down this Luna, but we'll have to wait and see. Neither of these teams have made an aggressive move onto the enemy side of the map for quite some time, but it looks like they're going to do just that. As Smoke flies out in the courier for the BangBang side, Smoke gets looked forward. The only one not there is the Queen of Pain. She'll commence farming and can join this fight pretty easily, just with her raw amount of mobility. So let's see how this opens up. They're going to lead with Blaze and the Nyx Assassin, and they're going to charge right into the enemy Ancients. This is a really big fight for them to take, and they're going to open up, looking for the impale. Only catches out Kikoni. Kikoni's going to take a lot of damage to that Mana Bird. Kokobo flying out, Winter's Curse over onto Shin, but it's not quite enough. Disruption is going to save their life. 3 heroes already hit the deck, and Phantom Lancer trying to doppelgang out of there. He'll get up to the high ground, but in the meantime, the Ancients are being focused down. A lot of gold going BangBang's way, and it might not be over yet. They're going to clear out those illusions, but everybody's out.
Yeah, Sand King, unfortunately, not getting an angle there to really do that much. I was thinking that BangBang were just going to be about a minute too late on that, but Boreal, they don't really have a lot of AoE clearing. It's, I mean, a lot of single target damage with the Wind Ranger and the Phantom Lancer. They can kill off individual Ancients, but a giant stack like that's going to take them quite a bit of time. BangBang, they're going to try to go for a Roshan straight after they still have the Eclipse. They'll have a boat in only 5 seconds. It's such a low cooldown spell, and Shin Gadget Guru also does have another Sonic Wave. If Boreal want to fight this, they need an absolute perfect epicenter. I don't think anything less than that will cut it, but the boat's coming in. Pizza Dad, will he be able to blink? No! He gets hit with a torrent, and now he's stuck in place. Epicenter doing no damage. He's going to try to burrow strike out. Sonic Wave will chase him down, though. That's going to be a really easy kill for BangBang. A much-needed kill at that. The Aegis was claimed by probably Luna. Yeah, Luna has now that double life, and Boreal, it looked so close to being perfect, but the boat came in just in time. Oh, okay, didn't see that one coming. It's going to be a snipe of the Shadow Demon, but towards top. Phantom Lancer's looking to push this tower. At least Boreal gets something out of this.
That was a really nice snipe coming out from the Windrunner. The Shadow Demon, time and time again inside these fights, drops down very low, and then after the Kunkka Rum buff wears off, he's on literally 1 HP. So just a nice angle coming out from Kikoni. But he's going to need a lot more where that came from to really catch back up in this game. If you compare his impact to that of the Queen of Pain, it's not really even close.
Part of it is because the Wind Ranger is just really struggling to find opportunities, and the other part is that the opportunities that Kikoni does find are opportunities that he really shouldn't be taking chances with, always jumping into more heroes than he should, more heroes than really any hero should. But 20-20 right now, and even though BangBang do have that Aegis, what are they actually going to do with it? Obviously they would like to take down all of the outer towers. There's only 1 tower job so far. They would like to take them all down, but Boreal, they still can defend with the Travels and the Phantom Lancer. Their split push is going to be pretty threatening for BangBang, so though they may be able to take, any given tower, because they just do have that Aegis and the Luna Siege Engine, they will lose a lot of ground in the meantime.
And even inside these fights, Winter's Curse and Blinking Sand King is terrifying, but there's going to be the X-Mark Torrent. Although it misses, yeah, she's going to be just fine. They didn't have the sufficient follow-up. Unfortunately, BangBang hasn't been 100% on point with the combinations, especially on Kikoni.
It's a little bit a shame for BangBang. If you're picking up a Kunkka, you should be, landing most of those, but I think it's close to like 50% now, and that's just not good enough for a hero pick if it has a 50% success rate. Not to mention Nyx Assassin's Impale is also damn difficult to land, so add 2 skills that are super finicky and you don't really have a super solid team. But either way, they do force Boreal do force BangBang to go down to this bottom lane as Tumblr Girl travels right back over the top lane, looking to continue this rat. If he keeps up with this, if BangBang are unable to actually get a pick off on anyone, then this Aegis is not going to do that much. Doesn't seem like BangBang even want to do anything super aggressive with this item. You'd expect they would just at least try to take this bottom tier 1.
Yeah, 2.5 minutes left on the stage of the Immortal. Maybe they can farm up for the Luna's Butterfly before they go for this push, but they need to start doing something now if they're really interested in getting value out of it. But then again, maybe they just want to farm. Their heroes do scale pretty darn well into the late game, but I still am very afraid that the Phantom Lancer gets to a point where he's just uncontrollable. He's going to be working towards that Manta style next. In fact, he almost has it, just shy of the goal to finish up that ultimate orb. And once Phantom Lancer gets major tank items, that could be terrible, but they'll catch the courier, and now in mid lane, somebody else might get caught. There's going to be a disruption over onto the Nyx Assassin, mostly defensively, 4-step away. And I think everybody's home free unless Flopper finds a hook shot. He's going to jump in, catches out auto attacks, bouncing back the Nyx Assassin, won't be able to get that kill by himself. And Jeppins is currently on an island away from the rest of his team, although Forstaff will allow him out to safety. So the real tally is just that courier pickup with the Manta style recipe right about there.
Still pretty good though. If you're going to be sniping a carrier, you definitely do a lot worse, as BangBang also potentially could have been in a fight that was a little bit too messy for them. But a whole bunch of hits being traded, a whole bunch of skills being used. But across the board, the important skills are still going to be up. The hookshot's not up right now, but should be up by the time they actually want to defend this tower. Eclipse, Sonic Wave, Boat, it's all there, as those skills, well, with the exception of being Eclipse, typically tend to have lower cooldowns. Tower going to be pushed. No creeps here. No problem, they'll take it down regardless. Are they going to go for high ground though? Because bottom lane's being pushed. Koni not even using his focus fire on that one. Maybe he's going to start to regret it because the TPs are coming in. Yeah, could have dropped the tower a lot faster. Koni's trapped in the trees, but it's the easy push after that little bit of a skirmish in this mid lane. And for BangBang, hey, at least they get one structure, but this bottom lane has a lot of potential gold for them. They're not quite yet tapping into.
Yeah. I think the Windrunner holding that Focus Fire is probably the right choice. They had a glyph on the side of BangBang and would have wasted that Focus Fire's time more often than not, and I think the end tally is the same. Tier 2 in mid gets destroyed, and Tier 2 in bottom gets denied.
Well, it's still a dead even game as far as the kills are concerned, and another look at the net worth and experience graph will pretty much confirm that. This time, slight lead towards BangBang in both the net worth and experience graph, really taking that Roshan counted for a lot of that. And now they have a Butterfly on Luna. She's gone for, as I said before, a very Gyrocopter-esque build, and it's still holding true. And, well, much like a Gyrocopter, she doesn't have a lot of damage. She's mostly just in that survivability department. But now with this Butterfly pickup, she will start hitting super hard. And Boreal, what are their mirrored pickups? Well, there's no Manta Style just yet, but PL should be able to grab that one pretty much as soon as the courier respawns. Then he has Manta Style, Diffusal Blade 2. It's a decent amount of damage, but I'm not sure if it's going to be quite enough, especially if he dies right now. Can auto attacks find the real one? Oh, you bet he can, because the TP is going to mark him. Although Mana Burn is there. Where's the follow-up? There's a beam, but that's about it. Here comes Gadget. He has a Sonic Wave. That's not quite going to do it. Needs another Blink, but oh, they're still on the chase for this Phantom Lancer. He has no mana to Doppelgang. Sonic Wave will finally connect. And PL will drop for 70 seconds. Now BangBang make their push.
Just like that, BangBang fine in opening. Even without a second life on the Luna, her first life is scary enough. 9-second BKB. Freshly acquired Butterfly that nobody is going to be able to deal with. MKB, although in an ideal world, you pick one up on your Windrunner, maybe later on the Phantom Lancer, it's going to be so long until they have those items up. But what they do have is double damage on Windrunner. She's going to use that to take down this tier 2 tower in mid. So even if they get this tower after the PL kill, it's just an even tower trade.
Koni's not going to stop either. He's going to just keep shoving the lanes, see who he can draw back with the Blink Dagger and Windrun. Maybe getting caught by Kunkka is really bad, but anyone else just not going to cut it. The push from BangBang kind of slow to get going. Creepwave is now finally going to arrive, but Phantom Lancer, he's only 20 seconds away from respawning, and the rest of the Boreal side can put up a fight here between the Curse as well as the Epicenter. I don't think they're going to, but yeah, it's not exactly as much as BangBang really expected. You'd expect them to take this tower. It'll be dead by now, ideally, and sweep through the enemy jungle even a couple of times, but they still get their objective. As you said, it's an even trade, and when you get a pick off on an enemy carry like that, you're supposed to get a little bit more than an even trade.
Yeah, Luna's still getting a lot of farm for herself, and that's a big difference between these two teams. It's in the farm distribution. Take a look at the sports coming out from the BangBang side. They really don't have much of anything. You have a Glimmer Cape Arcanes on Champion, Arcane's Mech, or Guardian Greaves now on the Kunkka, and although this is fine and all, compare their gold to the likes of the Sanking, who now picks up a full BKB.
And Luna is, you know, a pretty good hero to have all your gold concentrated into, until you look at heroes like Wind Ranger and Winter Wyvern especially. Like, you focus fire on one hero, you want that hero dead, and it's very easily going to be this Luna pretty much 10 times out of 10. Same thing for the Winter Wyvern. You see here, you curse her. Ideally, you would have you know, a couple of the BangBang allies there to help work down this Luna, but if you bring her down, the rest of the BangBang side really don't stand much of a chance. So Boreal do have the right heroes, the right the anti-big guy tools to actually deal with this Luna. They just have to make sure that those land, and they have to make sure that the Luna doesn't get a timely BKB off. Once the Satanic is picked up on Luna, then things get a lot more difficult.
Double Aghanim Scepters picked up by Boreal are going to help, one on the Windrunner, one on the Clockwork Tier 1 tower, finally taking down the bottom lane, and maybe even more importantly, the glyph was used after the Tier 1 tower dies. That's going to be on cooldown for 5 minutes. That does hurt when you're dealing with a Luna if they lose one big fight.
Seems like the only way that fight's gonna happen is if someone gets picked off, and Kikoni is sitting in this mid lane right now with an invisible Nyx right behind her. Vendetta hit, Impale, both of which are going to land. Now here comes Blaze with a curse. Kikoni's gonna try to win run, but even with a 2-man shackle, X-Mark's gonna pull him right back. Nice Sonic Wave. And it's gonna, you know, hit all the trees, but hey, you don't even need it. It's a BM Sonic Wave. 1 minute down for the Wind Ranger. Now the push is gonna commence, and now they really wish they had a fortification.
This is going to be very difficult a defense for Boreal. Without the Windrunner, a lot of their damage output is away, and it's going to rely on them getting a good curse coming after the Winter Wyvern if they really want to convincingly do it. And Luna, although she's currently in the bottom lane, has Boots of Travel as her next item, so she can join, in theory, for a high ground push. But looks like BangBang are getting cold feet since the Phantom Lancer is putting so much pressure on bottom. It doesn't look like that pickup on Windrunner is going to mean much of anything, maybe respecting the fact that she could have buyback, even though she doesn't.
Before anyone asks, yes, that was a sarcastic, nice Sonic Wave. I probably should add Bro to the end of it to make it a little bit more clear, but yeah, either way, BangBang, they get a pretty big kill onto Kikoni, who once again is just off, kind of in his own world, doing his own thing, and now they're actually going to smoke up, look for another pickoff. Looks like the only hero that's nearby is the Sand King. He is perhaps one of the most difficult heroes to actually lock down, but they're going to break the smoke onto Blaze. He does see Pizza Dad. There's the bubble. There's the poison. Curse should be coming soon. Nope, he's at drops BKB. Turn things around with the Burrow Strike. Now Blaze is pretty screwed over here. He's gonna hook shot to the face, and that's gonna be 1 down. Auto attacks. He's in the area. Where's the true sight? Is there any true sight? There's a gem on the Wyvern. A little bit too far away to actually see the Nyx, but that smoke didn't really seem like a full-on smoke because only one hero seemed like it really wanted in.
Yeah, kind of ambitious. There's going to be a Vendetta from the Nyx right on top of a Dire Observer Ward. Maybe they can actually catch him out here, since they do have that gem, as you already mentioned, on the Wyvern. But more importantly, is that Roshan is up, and they're going to start chunking away at it. With Focus Fire as well as the Phantom Lancer's just raw damage, they can do quite a lot, especially when you have the Clockwork running interference on the Nyx Assassin. BangBang aren't in position to really defend this. Even though they might think something's up, it's already too late. The Roshan is down to pretty critical amounts of HP.
It's going to drop really quickly, and it should be a double life for the PL, and it will be. Now with 4,800 gold in tow, you never really want to be going for an MKB as PL, but it seems like he might have to. He probably has enough HP plus backup so that he could, you know, not go for a heart or anything like that. But Tumblr Girl's getting pretty big right now, and even though Phantom Lancer doesn't have as much net worth as Luna, he can still fight toe-to-toe pretty evenly if he's able to actually, you know, make any sort of decent army without Sonic Wave or Boat clearing them out.
No matter what it is, I'd like to see Phantom Lancer pick up that item, even if it is a heart. Having that much gold inside your bank really doesn't accomplish that much, and if it's not an MKB, maybe go for something like Scotty, but yeah, let's see. It's going to be a Butterfly for himself. That's also a very valid item. He doesn't really need the HP, as you already kind of mentioned, since he does have Winter Wyvern behind him and plenty of help. I think Evasion for himself is pretty darn good.
And it does give you a hell of a lot of agility as well, and all of that agility does translate directly into your illusions, so it's you know, second best item I think for increasing your illusions damage. Diffusal Blade probably on top, and Ethereal Blade is in there somewhere as well, but I don't think that's on the docket for him. Either way, this Phantom Lancer is now pretty much completely even with the Luna. But still a 5k net worth difference in favor of the Luna, but I don't think Phantom Lancer really cares about that too much, given his mobility and given the fact that Luna's Eclipse does next to nothing to a PL. So it's still 22-21, still pretty much a dead even game. However, Kikoni again is going to be potentially picked off here. Impale, Mana Burn, doing hell of a lot, and now here comes a Sonic Wave. That one's not going to miss. And Kekoni, for the 11th time, is going to get picked off.
4-11-4, it just hasn't been Kekoni's game. It feels like he's not used to playing from behind, at least on Windrunner.
That's not really a great position to be in, and if you are unable to actually get back into the driver's seat, then Windrunner continues to be a kind of underwhelming hero. She's not super tanky. She does do her damage if she has a good position in the fights, but with the Queen of Pain, with Nyx Assassin looking to initiate pretty much every single time, getting that perfect position as Wind Ranger is going to be a little bit risky. If she's playing cautiously, if she's a little bit scared, then she's not going to be super willing to make those kind of aggressive dives into the enemy side looking for the two-man shackles, and that's really where Kekoni thrives. So he has to like keep up with this aggressive play, but not quite. It's like a really awkward place to be in.
As if Luna wasn't hard enough to bring down already. She has the full Satanic, so now that gold disparity is going to mean a bit. But force stab into the throw strike, into the Epi, but the Epi's cancelled by a precasted Torque by too much BangBang. BKB popped by Pizza Dad, but that's not going to mean much of anything at this point. They bring in the Luna with the boots of travel. Pizza Dad's going to be ripped apart by Glaives, and now chasing forward. Auto attacks is also in a great situation to catch out this Clockwork. Jeppins is going to be burst down by the Vendetta hit, and that's going to be 2 clean kills for BangBang. If you're going to go for that play on the Sand King, it might be worth it popping the PKB, but that Epicenter did absolutely nothing, was cancelled.
Yeah, it was cancelled because they didn't know it. The Nyx Assassin was right there. The Clockwork would have been able to get in there with the hookshot otherwise, but your Clockwork awkwardly hookshots into nothing and then is way too far away to cancel any sort of spells from the Kunkka, and then you just have Sand King all alone with no Epicenter and, yeah, Magic Community or whatever, but I don't think Luna cares too much about your Magic Community. They force a buyback out from the Clockwork. Sand King has one as well, but he doesn't have Epicenter, so there's really no point in doing this. Can Tumblr Girl actually split push enough? He's going to get imprisoned first, but now with the quick run out, getting it purged, has the Aegis, so it's probably just going to turn around and fight to the death. Well, that wasn't very long. Can he actually get out here? We'll have a full mana pool of Doppelgang once. Torrent will connect, actually. Tumblr Girl in a little bit of trouble. Will Doppelgang straight to the right. We'll try to go for the shout. Even tears him to shreds. But now here comes the boat as well as the Impale. Tumblr Girl should not be able to get any more kills because of that rum buff, and will be brought down. Now Kekoni's going to arrive. That was probably a mistake because the Queen of Pain's going to blink forward. Kekoni's going to look to TP out. Is there anything to interrupt it? Yes! A Lucent Beam at the final hour, and Kekoni's going to drop as well. That's another 2 kill for BangBang. Losing the Shadow Demon is a small price to pay for taking down not only the PA, but also the Wind Ranger.
Those are 2 really important kills for their team, and although PL does have buyback, he really doesn't want to spend it. He needs to be at the same level of farm as the Luna to really be able to fight. He needs that MKB to deal with this Butterflyer. At the very least, something for himself. Now, after those pickoffs, BB are going to be able to look for a push down mid, and maybe even force out this Phantom Lancer buyback. It would be terrible for them. This Luna is pretty much at peak performance level. She's a hero that benefits pretty heavily from having the Moon Shard, and technically she does have another slot to swap out with Power Treads, but this is pretty much as good as it gets.
Gonna go to work on this tier 3 tower and Boreal. Well, right now, probably BangBang. Oh no, Pizza Dad. Okay, well, I don't know if BangBang saw it. Is that going to be relevant? Because there's no Epicenter, and BangBang still might try to play around Epicenter if they only put the Luna on the front lines. It seems like the Splinter Blast with the Burrow Strikes clearing that Boreal have, they're not going to lose any structures here. So yeah, it's a mistake that looks like will be forgiven in the grand scheme of things. Maybe BangBang got the read there that neither of these 2 heroes had buybacks, but if they did, then that's a bad read, because they do, or I mean, only the Wind Ranger doesn't have buyback.
Fair enough. What they are going to get is a couple of attacks inside the enemy woods and control over the enemy's side of the map, which is going to make going for Roshan much easier, although not relevant for at least 2 minutes or so. Oh, looking for a pickup burst. They're going to catch out odd attacks, force that back in the base coming out from Pizza Dad. It looks like they want to just go straight for the slow siege. Luna's on the high ground, has a 9-second BKB. In fact, that hasn't been forced out very often. Shot in, they catch out. Blade's going to bounce it back. Burst Strike will connect. BKB by the Sand King, trying to go for his kill. Can they do it? Looks like the answer is no. They'll throw the Winter's Curse to the Luna, but the follow-up damage isn't there. So many misses from the allies. Torn catches out 2. Kamikaze still standing strong, although the Eclipse isn't doing that much damage to enemy heroes. It's still so much glaive damage. Windrunner is already down, and it doesn't seem that Tumblr Girl can do quite enough. Too many misses from the Luna. She doesn't get healing from the Satanic, and she's going to die. A big turn of events for the side of Boreal. Defensive Disruption will buy them a little bit more time onto Blaze casting, but not near enough. That was so lucky by them getting the misses on the Satanic, and now jump forward. They'll catch catch a third. Tumbler Girl finds himself a triple kill, and it's not over yet as Nyx Assassin will die to the Winter Wyvern's Splinter Blast. That looked like it would be an absolute disaster for Boreal's side, but just barely they pull through.
There aren't many fights that result in a win for Boreal where Wind Ranger, my god, opens up the fight by blinking into a boat. Literally, as soon as the boat was going to actually like connect, she blinked into it, which is not great, but ultimately the stun faded and Wind Ranger found herself lining up a two-man shackle shot with the Luna. By the time the Luna was actually able to turn around and right-click, the Phantom Lancer illusion army was pretty substantial at that point. Usually Phantom Lancers need a little bit more time to actually get going, but because of that extra time bought by that shackle, they were able to clear house and, well, make BangBang's fight a lot more difficult from there on out. They're going to try to go crack back into this tier 3. This Phantom Lancer is hitting so very hard. At this point, I think the best tool to actually have versus PL is going to be the Mana Burn. Both flies through onto PQ, but here comes the Epicenter. It's going to go straight towards BangBang. No, that's not going to do that much because all the BKBs are up, including his own. Jeppen's going to get right into the middle of things. Probably will be the sacrificial land here. Tries to force that out, goes the wrong direction, and now they're on the chase, or the run, depending on what point of view you're looking at. Pizza Dad going to blink out right before the Scream of Pain is used, and he will TP out to safety. Looks like no one else from Boreal is actually going to go down. The cost is going to be that clockwork, but they get the tier 3 tower.
Yeah, but it does cost him 3 buybacks. BangBang, buyback on the Kunkka, the Luna, and the Nyx Assassin, if I'm not mistaken. That's a lot of gold. And also the buyback cooldown down the tubes. If they don't get this next Roshan, things are looking really bad for BangBang. And although Epicenter is not going to be available for Boreal, the Roshan fight is still pretty darn good, with the Winter Wyvern especially. You can get a very easy curse, but Kekoni looks for the shackle and just straight up blinks. Okay, that was terrifying. There's going to be a disruption over onto Kekoni, and now the follow-up damage with the Sonic Wave. It's not quite enough to get this kill straight up, but a blink in, Impale catches out too, and it's the Phantom Lancer and the Windrunner. The Phantom Lancer is going to die, yeah, and the Winter's Curse is going to delay the BKB timing of the Luna. Kamikaze taking a good amount of damage. Can she get enough from the Satanic kill? And it looks like that's going to be enough with the defensive disruption. And now a couple more Luna illusions are going to be spawned. Burrow Strike's going to fly through. Kamikaze still standing strong, but the supports maybe not so much. Nyx Assassin force-staffed out, trying to buy him some space, and they'll be successful in doing so. Where's the catch? Too much BangBang. Look for the TP out. The Burrow Strike was available, but just not fast enough. Blaze Casting cut out with the Glimmer Cape. They still have to gem the Winter Wyvern. It looks like Blaze Casting this time around is going to be the price to pay for that push. Cut out. Even though he has defensive disruption, not going to delay enough time.
Doesn't even matter that they lose the Shadow Demon there, honestly. Like, he's died 11 times, but he's, for the most part, been doing his job. They keep all the relevant heroes alive. Luna does a truckload of damage throughout the entire fight, now has a Demon Edge item on the way, and Boreal end up losing crucial heroes there. Like, Wind Ranger died again, the Phantom Lancer, he's substantially messed up in that fight as well. So, yeah, Boreal still not taking a great fight, even though they have the reinforcement point. They have this tier 2 tower still alive, and hell, they could even probably could have reinforced in the tier 3 as well. But the end result is that BangBang are still comfortable enough looking for these fights because the Shadow Demon just means that little to them. They're going to have to fight in the Roche Pit though. They see Jeppins right now. He has no Blade Mail, so he's in a lot of trouble. Here comes the boat. It's going to apply the buff to the Luna. She does for BKB and the Eclipse both, but it's mostly absorbed by the Phantom Lancer illusions. So Eclipse being traded for the Clockwork is actually pretty good for Boreal since, well, they probably need their Clockwork a little bit less than BangBang need their Eclipse. Roshan's still alive right now, but will it actually be attempted to actually see Kekoni right now? X-Marks is going to be there, try to blink dodge it, not going to happen. Lands a shackle, but there's so many BangBang heroes here. Kekoni's going to die again. 15 deaths now on this Wind Ranger, and 70 seconds with no buyback. This should be tier 2 at least, maybe tier 3 or Roshan, depending on what BangBang will go for.
They're going to have a completed MKB on this Luna sooner rather than later too. That's going to solve a lot of BangBang's problems in these up-and-coming fights. It seems that Boreal, even when they do get a good engagement, just slip a little bit. And though BKB, I heard it was popped. It looks like that was Pizza Dad's BKB. I believe that was already down to 5 seconds, so not entirely relevant. We'll be back up before the high ground push at the very least, but so many items are going their way. You have a Refresher Orb on the Queen of Pain, and yeah, this is looking really bad. Boreal just get caught out, especially Kekoni, way too much.
Well, it's going to be a tier 2 denied and an Aegis claimed by the BangBang side. They also have Cheese that's currently being held by this Queen of Pain, so that's probably the correct assignment, although they can probably get away with switching those up. A little bit too late for that. They do have Pizza Dad in their sights right now. Auto attacks, saying hello right now, isn't able to get a ton of damage onto the Sand King, but will make it really difficult for him to retreat back. Ultimately does make it back to the base. Jepin's going to look to interrupt this push as much as he can. Gets double bump back on the Luna. That's actually really good here, because she's actually pretty roughed up at this point. They get the bubble on the Phantom Lancer, which is going to make the own Radiant Illusion Armor. Blaze gets hit with Curse. He's going to get obliterated first. Pizza Dad, he doesn't have his Epicenter Prime just yet, and he's going to get Force Staff away. Sonic Wave will cut through, doing a little bit of damage to Jepin. That's about it. Kamikaze still is very healthy right now, but doesn't have a Satan. Gets bumped back again by the Cogs, now being chased down by Tumblr Girl. Can they actually kill off this Luna? Can they kill her off twice? Finally, the Epicenter gets used, doesn't actually do anything. Kamikaze is going to concede his first life. That's the Aegis down. He has quite a few heroes to back him up, but Boreal, they're kind of ready to go as well. There's a nice spike, which will slow down the Phantom Lancer from focusing down this Luna. Focus Fire there from Kikoni. Burrow Strike is there as well. Luna slowly but surely dropping. However, the Torrent's going to connect on it too, and Gadget Guru is still here to back up this Luna. She can't quite lifesteal enough, and she will go down in the end. And now Gadget Guru is not looking too healthy either. Force the Blink over the cliff, will be fine for a little while longer. Auto attacks probably will get away as well. But it's Luna down for 97 seconds, and she doesn't have a buyback. For 2 minutes, Boreal can push.
This is very, very difficult for BangBang now, and I think a lot of it comes down to the fact that Luna doesn't buy out the MKB before going into that fight. She had the money for it, and since her buyback was on cooldown, there's no real reason to do that other than having the Aegis in your inventory, but they gave the Demon Edge to Kunkka to hold on to for that fight, so I really think they probably should have just bought out the MKB and passed that to a support. She just can't get the heal from the Satanic. It's just not relevant when there's so much mischance, either from the Butterfly of the Phantom Lancer or from the Windrunner's Windrun.
She needs that item so badly right now, and now it's, well, 100% forced to get that item because nothing more important to have in your inventory. Boreal right now aren't... Oh, and actually, no, they're going to gear up for this push. 50 seconds is what's on the clock for this Luna to respawn. I think BangBang should be able to hold their mid lane enough. This Phantom Lancer doesn't have a lot of mana, and they only have 1 Arcane Boots, 2 Arcane Boots. Yeah, it's not really going to be enough for Phantom Lancer to comfortably continue fighting. He has a BKB, though, at 9 seconds, so he still can do a lot of damage if he's actually able to cast a couple of his skills. Throw Lance deep, that's not going to do too much. Sonic Wave is going to be thrown. Thin out the Creep Wave, but at this point, the Creep Wave is tanky enough to survive, albeit barely. You have a smoke up on the side, so Pizza Dad can ideally get an uninterrupted Epicenter channel off. Still 18 seconds to go. Kona looking for a shot, won't quite land, but still Blaze is in a lot of trouble. Here comes the Epicenter. Run to auto attack, taking a lot of damage. Can't get the Spike Carapace off in time, and even if he does, BKB's up on the Phantom Lancer. He'll try to down with this assassin, but with the dust, they will bring him down in the end, in his or not. 87 seconds down the tubes for the Nyx, and now at the very least, mid lane is going to be forfeit, or at least it should be. No Boreal, they're just going to leave. Luna's back up, and even with a 4v5 on their hands, they don't want to fight this.
No respect to Luna. She doesn't have MKB yet because she wants to save up for buyback now since that cooldown timer has reached its end. So she's not going to have that for another 1700 gold or so. Well, what could have been an absolute disaster for the BangBang side has been somewhat mitigated by the fact that Boreal are respecting this Luna's farm, but on the same side of the coin, they have a Phantom Lancer that's sitting on 7,000 gold in the bank and a Drums to replace. They really don't get much stronger, so all of this is going to revolve around the next Roshan, I guess, since we are nearing the ultra late game.
This is also where we have to look at some of the non-position 1 heroes to see what they can actually do to scale. Looks like Kunkka, Shadow Demon, they're probably not going to do a ton. Queen of Pain is in her caster build, and that's fine, but typically tends to fall off a little bit harder than if you go for, mix an Assault Cuirass, something like that in your build. Nyx Assassin has a Sheep Stick, and that's fine, but he's, for the most part, a utility hero. For Boreal, they just need to get more farm onto Kikoni. If he gets an MKB, suddenly Boreal's damage absolutely skyrockets. She has used Focus Fire in the past versus this Luna, but against this evasion, Focus Fire, even though you're attacking super quick, doesn't actually do a ton of damage, so that would step up Boreal's damage power by so much, and it's not really the smoke they wanted. Looks like Jepins didn't get the memo.
Still, they have a full Eye of Scotty on the Phantom Lancer, and although it's not going to be the great damage out item that they might have wanted, Phantom Lancer is still doing just fine in that department. Most is raw base damage, 270, spread out through all of those illusions with the feedback. It's ridiculous. Winter's Curse over in the sideline is going to catch up the Nyx Assassin. Sonic Wave turned a second time in the enemy team. The Windrunner's dropping low and will tie to the Purge damage. BKB's pop galore on both sides of the coin. Hook shot in, they'll catch up Kamikaze. Both going to apply the buff to her, and she is going to be able to fight for quite a much longer time. time. The Sand King, I'm not sure what happened to that epicenter, but it doesn't actually go through. Even without it, they'll be able to kill off Blaze. This Phantom Lancer, however, is completely unanswered. They'll catch out Queen in Pain, although Luna has an Eclipse going on the sidelines and might be able to kill this Clockwork and Winter Wyvern. Even then, it's not going to happen. The Kunkka buff has worn off, and Luna's down without buyback for 97. This is the worst case scenario for the BangBang side. They have buyback on Queen of Pain, but she's the only hero standing.
Sonic Wave was used twice to kill off the Wind Ranger, and that's nice and everything, but at this point the Wind Ranger dying isn't really a terribly huge deal for Boreal. She has the lowest net worth. Am I reading this right? I am, right? I'm not crazy. Like, the Winter Wyvern has more net worth than the Wind Ranger. You spend pretty much the entire kit of your Queen of Pain to take down an irrelevant hero for Boreal, and that's, at this point, exactly what they want. The Phantom Lancer was able to dodge most of that. The Pizza Dad Sand King was able to back off and got a decent epicenter off. He's gonna now look for the Queen of Pain, forces out the BKB, but man, Queen of Pain can't do anything up against this push because Boreal, they're all up in the BangBang base with Tumblr Girl pushing up the top lane, everyone else down on bottom. With no more buybacks from BangBang, I think this game might be over, especially with a shackle onto Gadget Guru. He's now gonna get focus fire down, and that's him down. Tumblr Girl's gonna run to the fountain because, okay, he's feeling a little bit suicidal perhaps. Doppelgang maybe will save him. Oh no, just the Embrace, that'll do it. The Glimmer as well. And Lancer has a Doppelgang out. He's gonna get put into a bubble, making a couple of Radiant Illusion, but now to Blaze they'll go, tear him to shreds. Shackle's also gonna connect onto auto attacks rather, in the enemy fountain. The Fountain farming to end this game, but Boreal eventually do claim victory, even after a messy Wind Ranger game from going out.
So many of those high ground pushes coming out from BangBang just flat out failed. They weren't able to find great initiations, and the Luna in those last couple of fights was hurt so much by the raw amount of evasion on the enemy team, and even though she did have a lot of items, it didn't seem to matter since they weren't 100% relevant. Unfortunate for BangBang that the game ends that way, but Boreal eSports come back in a pretty big way. That said, it was a very close game if we take a look at the graphs, if we even can, which it looks like we can't at this point. Very